Right.
Good morning, Facebook. How are you guys doing? Or good afternoon, actually. It's right at noon. As you see, we have a special guest in the house, Mrs. Lynn Bailey from the Richmond County Board of Elections. We're getting questions as an organization about voting, poll working, and so forth, and we're not the experts. So I reached out to the Board of Elections, and Miss Lynn Bailey's team got me in touch with her and I said, hey, would you be willing to do a quick live just to cover some information, and we can get it out to Augusta, to all the residents who are concerned about voting and getting information on, voter registration deadlines, where to vote, early voting, and so forth. So we're going to just do a quick live to get that information over to you because we know that this is a very important election for everyone to participate in. And then I'm just going to remind you again, make sure you fill out your census, please. We really need to fill out while we're talking about voting. I always kind of talk about voting and census all together. But first, Mrs. Lynn Bailey, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I just want to shout out you and your team. Before we started the live, I was just talking about how grateful I am that we have such a great Board of Elections team here in Augusta, because we do see some of the things that happen around the country and other places in Georgia. But just want to shout out you and your team and just tell you thank you for everything you do. And if you want to introduce yourself, and
Sure.
I'll just make sure we're live and everything's good to go before we get this conversation started.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for that great introduction and for the kind words about our office. We have as dedicated a group of people down here in this office as you'll see anywhere. We've been together a long time. The core team's been working together about 25 years now, so we've kind of have aged together and whatnot. So I've been director here in Richmond County since 1993. So this is my eighth presidential election that I've had direct administration over. So it's an exciting time. We have a lot going on in elections this year. And so with that, I guess we can just jump right into whatever it is you feel like we need to talk about.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. So let me get this conversation here started. And if you come into the live, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below as well. But I guess first, let's start about voter registration deadline, because that's the most thing that's coming right up, right? So
You're
let's
right.
get right into that.
It's just around the corner. In fact, it's Monday,
Right.
October the 5th. And so if there's anyone out there listening, or if they know of anybody who still needs to register to vote, now would be the time to do that. And that would include, changing your address or changing your name or any kind of change you need to make on your voter registration record. So it's easy to do. If you have a Georgia driver's license or a Georgia state ID card, you can go online to the Georgia Secretary of State's office and do it all electronically. So very convenient. If you don't have access to a computer, the paper form is available all over the web, including our website and Secretary of State's website. And then, of course, you can always come down and see us in our office. We've had people in and out of here all day this week, every day registering to vote, and we'd love to see more.
Okay, great. Now, the next question is on absentee ballot. It looks like there's a lot of questions going on about how to fill it out properly, maybe where to pick up one and so forth. If you could cover that for us.
Sure, I will. There has been some confusion about voting absentee by mail this election, and I think it's just because of the volume of people that are using it that have not used it before. For this type of an election, we typically would send out around 8,000 absentee ballots by mail. We have already sent out over 31,000, and we have thousands coming in every day. So, and a lot of the problems that I've seen come across my desk for resolution have been from voters who have never voted by mail before. They're just not accustomed to hand marking their ballot and doing those things. So the good news is most everything has a remedy, a pretty easy remedy to do it, to make it successful. And I would say that your easiest remedy is just read the directions before you go into this thing. Read the directions and make sure you understand how to properly mark your ballot. I would also say that if you have an idea that you want to vote an absentee ballot by mail, you need to apply today. Don't wait. Go ahead and get it into us. Easy to get it into us. You can email it. You can fill it out and take a picture of it and attach it to an email and send it to us. You can mail it or bring it down here to our office. You can put it in one of our drop boxes around the city for absentee ballots. That'll work. But whatever method you use, we need a good signature on there so we can verify and check your signature.
Okay, good. So, and how can they find or get the absentee ballot, and how can they find the locations that has the balance, the boxes?
The boxes, sure.
Yes.
So the application itself is available again on the Secretary of State's website. They have an electronic portal, again, using your Georgia driver's license or state issued ID card. You can do that all electronically, or you can get the paper form that we've just talked about. The absentee ballots, once we get your application in, we're going to verify it, check your signature, check your information. And once we're comfortable with it, we're going to send a ballot out to you. When you get it, you need to vote it right away. Don't wait. And then figure out the best way to return it to us. So you basically have three options. You can put a 55-cent stamp on it and drop it in the mail. You can use one of our drop boxes, which are located here at the municipal building, also at the Warren Road Recreation Center, at the Henry Brigham Recreation Center, and the Diamond Lakes Park, which people who have early voted will recognize those as our early voting centers around the city. We have another one coming in next week. That will be at the City Services Center at the intersection of Peach Orchard and Rozier Road. So we're expecting delivery of that anytime, and just as soon as we get it, we're going to put that additional box in out there. So that's using those boxes is a quick, convenient, safe way to get your ballot to us. Those boxes by law are required to be permanently affixed to the ground. They're required to have video surveillance 24/7. They're constructed especially for this. They're metal boxes. You can't get your hand in it to pull ballots out. Okay. And we're checking them every day and emptying them every day. So it's a convenient way to get it to us. And the last way you can get it to us, and we've seen a lot of that this week, is people coming into our office and just giving us their ballot. I think for a lot of people who might normally vote in person, that's been like their substitute voting in person thing. They get their ballot at home. They mark it in the peace and quiet of their own home. They bundle it up and bring it down here to us. We look at it. We can see the signatures on there. Everything looks good. We give them a sticker. They're happy to get their sticker. If we've got their ballot, we drop it in the box. And so that's been a very popular way to do.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Now moving right along, if anybody's in the live, if you have any questions real quick before Mrs. Lynn Bailey hops off, let us know. But moving right along. So my understanding is talking about voting by mail or in person. Since we just talked about the absentee ballot, I know you kind of want to cover some things there. So, and having a plan of how you're going to vote.
Yes, thank you for that. We've been saying it for about a month now. With everything that's going on between the COVID and the different options and so many people voting by mail who haven't done it before, there's so many things to think about with voting. So our suggestion for voters has been figure out your plan for voting. What is going to make you most comfortable? For instance, if you're not comfortable being around crowds for whatever reason, then your option is to vote by mail. And so you need to make that happen for yourself. You have to apply for it. Many different ways to do it that we've already talked about. Once we get your application, we're going to send your ballot to you. You need to be responsive to that ballot. You get it, you vote it, and then you get it back to us either with the ways we've talked about, putting it in the mail, using a drop box, or bringing it down here to us. The single biggest reasons that we've seen for rejection of ballots or things that hold them up is the voter's failure to sign the back of that envelope. You've got to put your signature on there. So again, it all goes back to read the directions, make sure that you're following those steps to ensure that when your ballot gets back to us, we can just get it right on through without any issues.
Okay. Okay. So they have to sign the back of the envelope. That's so remember to do that, everybody.
Yes.
So make sure you read the instructions very carefully. Take your time. I suggest doing it when you're not being disturbed so you don't miss anything, but make sure you sign the back of the envelope. Now, if for some reason it's not signed, do you guys reach out or how does that work?
We do. We immediately reach out to them. We provide a form that will cure that particular problem. And so for voters, you're going to get that cure form in the mail. You're going to get it by email, and we're going to give you a call. Whatever information, contact information we have for you, we're going to use that to reach out to you. And your responsibility as a voter would then be to complete the affidavit, to take a picture of your photo ID and send both of those back into our office. And as soon as we get them, then we can immediately get your ballot into the mix. And so we were talking about a plan, and so we've talked about the voting by mail. And so the other branch in the decision-making tree is, well, if you're not going to vote by mail, then you're going to vote in person. And so there are things that people need to be aware of. First of all, if you do decide to vote in person, that's fine. We're going to do early voting. We're going to have the polls open on election day, but you need to come to your polling place with your heart and your mind in the right place, because it is going to take you longer to vote in person than you are accustomed to. That's due for a number of reasons, or due to a number of reasons. I think primarily, we're going to have more people voting, so that's one thing. But the other thing is, in this age of COVID, we can no longer stand hip to hip and vote in a voting machine. We've got to spread things out a little bit on the inside of the place where we vote, and we also have to take extra steps to clean surfaces and clean the machines and whatnot. And so all those things combined means that it will likely take you longer to vote in person than you are accustomed to. So again, get your head right with it. Come on and do it if that's what you want to do, but just be a good citizen, be a part of the process, and come on and get in line. And we're just proceed with the knowledge that we're going to do everything we can to get you in and out as quickly as we can. So the way we see it, you've got the three choices. You can vote absentee by mail. You can vote in person during early voting. We haven't talked about this, but I'll just say right now that we are opening up the Bell Auditorium as a big mega advanced voting center where we can get 50 voting machines in there. We've got tons of parking. We'll have shuttles to take people back and forth from the building to the parking lot there at the arena. So we really are doing everything we can to make it convenient. But I'll bet you even then, even with all those voting machines in that big space, we're still going to have lines up there because the enthusiasm about this election is off the charts.
Yes, yes,
So
I would agree.
So voters, pick your plan. Vote by mail, vote during early voting, or go vote on election day, your choice. But get your plan and stick to it.
Okay, and what's the dates for early voting?
Early voting starts October 12th.
Okay.
So we'll be at the Bell for 3 weeks, including one whole weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday on October the 24th and 25th from 9 to 4. Also on that Saturday, the 24th, is when we'll open up the 3 additional sites. So they'll be open on Saturday. They'll reopen on Monday for extended hours that last week from 8:30 until 6. So lots of opportunities for people to vote in whatever way makes them comfortable.
Yes, so definitely take advantage of early voting, and thank you for working out with the Bell Auditorium to have that as a polling site as well. So that's going to really help to get people in line to vote and so forth. And then what about the absentee ballot? What is the deadline to get that in?
That's a great question.
Okay.
So voters have until the close of polls on election day. So November 3rd is election day. So as long as we get it by that day, we can count it. Now, recently, there was a court order issued that also allows us to accept any absentee ballots up until the Friday after the election, as long as they're postmarked by election day. So either get it to us or get it postmarked. Now, I will say that court order is being challenged by the state of Georgia. So, I don't know what the outcome of the appeal will be, but for right now, today, that's what the law says, that we can accept them up until the Friday after the election.
Okay. So we'll keep looking up for that legislation to see how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, but not least, poll workers. Mm-hmm. If you can give us a breakdown of poll workers and how we're looking for the Augusta, Georgia
sure.
community.
Well, I must say that we're in pretty good shape with poll workers here. Secretary of State's office has done a great job through a portal that they established of funneling information down to the counties with people who would like to work at the polls. Right now, our reserve list is up over 400, approaching 500 people that we've gotten through that portal and through other places of people who are interested in working. Now, in addition to that, we've been very fortunate that our core group of poll workers have stuck with us. We haven't had a whole lot of people who've chosen not to work. We've also not had any polling places who have opted to stop hosting elections, which was part of the big issues that we saw up in the city of Atlanta back during June. They had so many polling places that just backed out at the last minute and wouldn't do it. And they were really in a bad way up there with that. But we have not had that. But here's one thing that I think you'll be interested in knowing. We contacted the Board of Education back in February and developed a partnership to recruit high school juniors to work at the polls for the elections earlier this year. And the idea was we would have them work March, which we know was postponed, and then May, which was postponed until June. And then they would be seniors and they could finish out the year by working at the polls in November. So they get the, the whole experience, and we get that continuity of the same people rolling through, which is, win-win thing, and we pay them, so everybody's happy. So anyway, we had all these elections earlier that basically weren't held. And so the students, with a few exceptions, have not been able to have that experience yet. So for November, we have 110 high school seniors that are we're going through training right now, and our goal is to have at least 2 students at every polling place in the city of Augusta. So that's worked out great. In addition to that, we have a collaboration with the Georgia Cyber Center and Augusta University, where we're recruiting poll workers through their Handshake portal, which is where students go looking for jobs and whatnot. And that has yielded great results. So those students are coming through as well. But the last thing, which is, I think, really cool, the head coach of the girls basketball team at Augusta University reached out, and the whole team wants to work. The whole girls basketball team and their coaches. And they'll be working periodically during advanced voting and also at the polls on election day. So we're very happy about being able to bring so many young people into the process. But having said that, I will say this: we are generally always in need of people who are willing to give of themselves for that 15 or 16-hour day. That particularly those that have good, strong computer skills. This new voting system that Georgia has, it's not complicated for the voters to use. It's going to feel very familiar to them. Mm-hmm. But the setup on the front end of it is more complicated than it used to be, because now we have to connect a tablet to a desktop printer. We've got an iPad we're doing to check in voters. There's an electronic piece of equipment that scans your ballot before it drops it into the ballot box. So there are all these electronic components that, we just aren't accustomed to seeing with the setup and breakdown. And I think that's where these young people are going to really be a big help to us.
Yes. We always love the younger people, for the younger generation, just to make sure that we can do some technology things that are not, normally work. But any, assistance you may need there on the polls, I can definitely send out something through the chamber and just see if anybody, I know we have a lot of technical skilled people that be willing to work, as well as myself too. I can, always, squeeze in, which I'm a little,
it's a big commitment.
It's going to be a long day, but I think it's very critical for business owners, for the community, that we, make sure that our polling goes as smoothly as possible. I know it's a big election for everybody, but we want to make sure that everybody can vote with everything that's going on and get in and out as quickly as possible. But I understand the need of having some technical people on board. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll go ahead and sign up officially on video.
Well, that'd be awesome. Listen, we're going through training right now. So when we get off the call here, I'll send you an application. I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay. Send me an application. I'll go ahead and do it. Board or anybody else, let me know so we can get you into training, because I know that's probably happening really quickly. So we can get that going. But that was all the questions that I definitely had, and we kind of talked about, and we've been getting funneling from the community. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share that with us today. Is there any last thoughts or any other information you want to share out to the community before we go?
I think the last thing I'll say, I'll just go back over the schedule, what's kind of the important dates that are coming up here. We know Monday, October 5th is the voter registration deadline. Early voting starts on Monday, October the 12th. On Saturday, October the 24th, that's when all the other early voting locations will open. If you want to vote an absentee ballot by mail, October 30th is going to be your deadline for applying for one and getting one sent out to you. And then the third day after the election, your ballot has to be postmarked by that day or otherwise received in our office by November 3rd, your absentee ballot that we sent you. So those are, I think, the big dates to keep in mind.
Okay. And then what's the number to reach the Board of Elections if anybody has any additional questions?
So it's 706-821-2340. And our website is augustaga.gov/vote, VOTE. Tons of information out there.
Tons of information.
Mhm.
So I wanted to get this information out to the community. I know I was getting questions and getting calls, and I was like, you know what? Let me just reach out to the Board of Elections. You guys are always great in Augusta, Georgia community. So appreciate you for everything you do. Now, if you want to reach out to the chamber, you know, you can connect with us on all our social medias at MyGABC, and then our website is www.mygabc.org. We will also share out this video, put it on our YouTube so you can share with your families and friends, just in case people take information better from getting it from a video. We wanted to keep this short and sweet so people can get the direct information they needed to have, because I know everybody's going to be looking to vote in this election and figuring out the best way for them and making that plan, as Mrs. Bailey said. And then we'll also send it out through our email marketing as well, so we can get it out to the community. So thank you so much, Mrs. Bailey. I'm Arnique West, the president of the Greater Augusta Black Chamber of Commerce. I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.